The following story will shock you, blindside you, rock you. It may as well be considered mass murder if you continue right along, because you will act out and kill a bunch of people. In all likelihood. I don't take legal accountability for this, so don't bother blaming me for what you're about to hear. In fact, I'd say that viewer discretion isn't just advised, it's a must. Adult children should call their parents and have them listen along with them before continuing to consume what I'm about to narrate your way. Prepare your nerves. You're about to get nervous. You may as well give them practice now. Practice makes perfect, but what you're about to hear in its complete sinfulness is not just perfect practice at all. Star versus the World, I mean Star versus the Forces of Evil, apparently, is a great show. I never watched it, but from what I've been told, it's worth a whole hoot and a holler. If there was anything about it that I wish I could permanently erase from my mind, though, it would have to be that one episode. That one episode that aired at 3 o'clock in the morning just 2 nights ago. I haven't forgotten anything about it, but then again, it was only 2 nights ago. I have no long-term memory. I wrote the details down on the walls in my bedroom mirror and my arms and legs. I'm reading it off to you right now, so hold on tight if I pause for too long. It'll be worth it in the end. Trust me. I was just 14 and a half years old and had important stuff to be doing. Anyway, as many Disney files know, Walt Disney is infamous for refusing to release complete seasons of their animated shorts on DVD, unlike Nickelodeon, the Cartoon Network, BET, so I can readily assume that the episode that I'm about to share with you is one of the reasons why. Perhaps it's an implication of a deeper, darker secret that is still forbidden from my child's eye. One of the reasons, if not the reason. That fateful night, or should I say fateful early morning, as it was after midnight, I returned home at the palindrominous time of 2:42 a.m. It was late, and to make matters worse, it was just hours before my cognitive neuroscience final at Bayside Junior High, where me and my gang of jewel-eyed miscreant amigos go. I should have been studying, but I was hanging out with them. The jock, the cute girl, the nerd, the whole bit. Even the school principal got in a word or two about Earth Day and sharing and caring and why you should plant strange seeds and see what grows from them and marvel like a country bumpkin jackass who mistakes easily explainable natural processes for hidden mysticism. So I tried to rest. My heart was still racing fast from the night's festivities, which for legal purposes I can't explain here. The fact of the matter is, I couldn't get to sleep. Not much else to do, and no real choice but to stay up. I turned on the boob tube, that means TV, and adjusted the dial and antenna. Ah, Disney XD. While surfing the TV guide, I noticed that a surprise new episode was airing. A new episode? There was neither an announcement nor a hint of fanfare on the Disney XD website or the Star vs. the World forum or subreddit. Something just didn't seem quite right about this notice. It was strangely bothersome, like one of those emergency broadcast messages that I'm afraid of. I mean, there weren't any promotional ads online or on the TV either. It was just right out of the blue. The new episode was about to air. Boom. Blat, like that. Without many people knowing. Strange. I couldn't help but be curious, even though I should have started studying and preparing for finals week. I was feeling guilted about this, and my Norwegian forest cat Taco was kind of pissed at me for not being more responsible about my future. Nevertheless, it was 3 in the morning, and I couldn't concentrate. I was already anticipating this new episode, so what else was I going to do? Look at Rule 34 drawings? No, that's not me. I'm above that, I think. Anyway, I watched a television show instead of doing that. So there. The episode began with a normal intro until about midway through. At that moment, out of nowhere, a young adult male voice could be heard singing, "I'm from another woohoo." I don't know what a woohoo is outside of something Homer Simpson says when he finds neglected Doritos under the couch cushions, so that was a little strange. Even worse, the audio was abruptly cut off by sounds of, to my utter shock and disbelief, loud screaming, and a brief audio clip of what I could only assume was a real-life mass homicide that I am legally bound not to talk to you about any further. The intro ended while I felt disturbed. I wasn't going to give this episode a chance. Not after watching that horrifying intro. I wasn't down with that sickness, but I remember that this was a start of a new episode, and maybe this was a previously unaired Halloween special that they somehow forgot about when submitting episodes for the festive holiday. Perhaps they decided that they liked some other episode deep within their vaults more and aired that one instead. I proofread the TV guide once again to check if this was the new episode and not some sort of mistake by their editing department, but that was when I noticed that there was a title for the episode. Star and her forces of mass genocide? What? Let's skip straight to the meat and potatoes. The episode began with Star Butterfly looking at the camera and directly into the viewing audience, as if piercing their souls with a fiery judgment. She was shattering the fourth wall, but yet she said nothing. She was emotionless, as if rotted out from the core, deeply, irretrievably dead inside, or had lost her voice due to some sort of experience that she was still just simply too frightened about to let us in on. I couldn't help but be bothered by how highly realistic her body looked. It reminded me of the uncanny valley effect, of how cartoon characters can creep us out when they look a little bit too much like real people. Yet we can still somehow tell that something's not quite right and that they ain't real, breathing creatures like you, me, or Taco, if you remember him. Whether this was some sort of animation error or a traditional motion capture procedure that they overlooked audience response to, I couldn't complain. While I was pondering these things, she mouthed about something, but I couldn't make out anything that resembled a coherent sentence. Maybe this was just a case of bad editing, or somehow they wanted to build up suspense, so they foreshadowed that she was so bothered that she'd become muted like a cartoon mime. What made matters worse was that there was a loud, static, ringing noise filtered right into the scene. I don't remember there being loud, static, ringing noises in children's cartoons, but Marco, Star's boyfriend, walked in her room and asked what she was doing. Rather than stay silent, Star immediately broke out into panic sweats as if she was suffering from PTSD or some other kind of anxiety disorder. Marco, apparently unnerved, began formulating a response, but his mouth was animated to move so slowly that 3.5 minutes had passed without him completing a full sentence. Even with the weight, I was jittery as to what the next scene would reveal about the terrifying events of this episode. When he finally let it all out, Marco's answer didn't make much sense to me at all. "Let's dispel with this fiction. Want to order some pizza?" he inquired her. Since it took him so long to say it, I had to write out each word on a White Castle napkin, scribbled in mechanical pencil. As I was short on those graphite pieces that make you insert for writing fuel, I was appreciative they didn't have more to say, but it was still disturbing. The animation was spliced together like one of those YouTube poop videos where whoever it is at home pieces together sound bites to make characters say things that they actually never said. I gave up, shrugged it off. Maybe it was a video editing prank, or maybe it was purposeful satire like the video Joker, quote-unquote, from that popular African-based Who Killed Captain Alex film. If that was made by just a couple of college kids, maybe the kids I was hanging out with put this episode together. No, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. The next scene featured Star and Marco at school, walking through a hallway and having a conversation. The animators had drawn the same walking cycle over and over, and the very same backdrop of the school always repeated, like one of those old Hanna-Barbera cartoons where backgrounds are recycled during walking or running sequences. You know, to save the studio precious time, money, contract negotiation issues. Marco asked Star Butterfly if she was okay after last night, which, out of context, came off a little curious, and yeah. What I wasn't ready for was Star's reply. In fact, it really bothered me. You see, Marco, I usually say that Earth is a perfect place, but truth be told, it is not. We live in a world of wildfires, homicide, Freemasons, bombings, wars, mass shootings, terrorism, tsunamis, suicide, necrophilia, crime, bestiality, chicken pox, Donald Trump. Think about it, little Marco. This Earth is a gilded corpse that's been cast away, hidden away, tucked away, fucked up royally and precluded from any possible redemption by a conspiratorial dystopian media that is secretly run by the... okay, she cursed and it wasn't bleeped out either, and this never happened in the series before, I guess. And lecturing about real-life government conspiracies in a kid's cartoon show? How in the world did that get past the FCC? She continued. Listen, Marco. Listen up before your head goes combust. I repeat, I will. Shit, fire, and fury all over and around this cocksucking motherfucking dimension of dimensions. Dimension X? More like Dimension Shrek. No god or creative mastermind can hide from the damages that have occurred and continue to occur without rhyme or reason. I will have my revenge for it all. Revenge is life. Okay. Well, realizing that this was all a bunch of preachy left-wing liberal propaganda fake news bullshit, I was about to get up and turn off the TV, but what happened next was like it had been waiting for me until that very moment. To bewilder me and piss me off so friggin' much that the very moment I was about to give up and get up and turn the program off, it would burn an image into my brain that if I could live forever, it would never be long enough for me to forget it. My worst fear. There it was. A horse. And then a nuclear explosion. A mushroom cloud. Drawn more realistically than anything else in the series, I guess. I couldn't even explain how animation could look so lifelike. All of the citizens, the people, the school children, Marco, the queen, everything else in the Star versus the World of Evil universe, you could hear a scream that you knew, you just could know, represented in unison all of their terror and agony. The lone survivor was Star herself, as if to suggest that everyone else was somehow at fault for the world's condition. Everyone except for the lone Star. Little narcissist bitch. I couldn't take any more of this. I was too afraid of what might happen next. Star was walking back to Marco's place alone, of course, with no sound effects. Except for Freebird by Leonard Skinner playing in the background, but said background song was muffled, as if there was an audio glitch caused by the equipment being set up too close to the microphone. Adding insult to injury, a Confederate flag on a pole hung still in the background, signifying that there was no wind. The world was lifeless. After Star's walk, which, suspiciously enough, went on for 3.5 minutes, the episode ended. Abruptly. The episode suddenly ended. Cut to black. Abruptly jumped to the end titles. It was like the series finale of The Sopranos, except everybody died. Well, everyone except for Star. I tried to go to sleep again. There was no way I could focus and study for finals now. I was baffled, mortified, mystified, disoriented from this episode. I'd love to tell you everything else that happened, but, you know, why this episode only aired just once, so suddenly, with so little announcement, or if I decided to contact the animators, writers, and creator Darren Nefsey, among others, but I can't explain it anymore. It's my turn to be at a loss for words. I just don't want to go into any more details. Because I can't. I signed a waiver. Those kids. My peers. They weren't selling me Cliff's Notes. Those weren't Cliff's Notes at all. Oh, it's probably safer for me to just keep my big mouth shut. Anyway, it's time to talk about Rule 34.